Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War raid stream week 28 day 4. So today we're going to be messing around with the new Mythic. So of course last Friday while I was gone we ended up getting a new Mythic introduced to the game, and that Mythic was Umenath. It is actually still available right now. The new Mythic that ended up coming in. It's available for 5 more hours and 41 minutes if you still want to go and pick this up. But yeah, it's still available for several more hours. Then it'll be out of the Glory Gem, or it's not going to be out of the Glory Gem. Basically, how it is right now, it's the only Mythic currently in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP I cannot speak. It's the only Mythic within the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest currently. And as soon as it expires in about 5 hours and 41 minutes, why they don't have a timer on this page, I do not know. But once it expires in 5 hours and 41 minutes from now, it will be within the drop table with everything else. So every single Mythic will be back in the drop table, and it'll be a lot harder to obtain, basically meaning the only viable way to get it after these last few hours would be to go craft it for 4,000 diamonds sometime into the future. It's basically an alternative Zoogoth. Definitely not a must-have, but it's a nice utility to have if you're looking for a Zoogoth but can't afford to go out of your way to go get a Zoogoth. This is your next closest thing. Also, as far as Pride Lands Mythics are concerned, there's 2, Umenath and Umenath, and of the 2, Umenath is the better one. Umenath used to be pretty good in the current state of the game, and ever since it got nerfed, not so much. So you're better off just going with the Umenath then, if you're going to go one way or the other. But anyways, hello everyone! Hello Bill! Hello Haley! Hello Jefferson! Hello Army! Hello Isabel! Hello Cookie! Hello Bill! Hello Birdleaf! Hello Starfang! Hello Steve! Hello Jellybean! Hello Matt! Hello Mobarashi! Hello T3! And hello everyone else! Welcome, welcome! Also, if anyone's still looking for a guild, let me know. We should have a few spots available. I believe we have 2 people that have been inactive for a little while and I need to go kick. And I believe we have 1 spot open right now as well. So if anyone can do $1 million plus gold, ideally closer to 1.5 million per week, as well as being able to do decent in normal guild-related activities like raids, invasions, guild wars, stuff like that. We do have a spot left, and we might even have 3 spots very, very soon, TM. And let's see, because we still have 2 people who have been inactive for a while. Let's see, how long was this one? They've been inactive pretty much since I was gone. So we have one that's been inactive for 10 days, and then we have a, what was this one? And another one for 9. I still need confirmation on it, which I'll double check in a bit, but yeah, I might need to go kick both of them, especially since that one was pretty recent that we ended up adding. He's been more inactive than he's been active. But anyways. So first things first, of course, new Mythic. This is some of the teams. We ended up posting a video on it. Oh, that's funny. We're already up against a Zoogoth. Zoogoth, of course, being the other kind of alternative thing that's kind of like. But Umenath, pretty good at securing kills. Has double skull damage every single time it takes a skull, assuming they can be hunters marked. It also has, well, apparently Entangle. But let's go get mana on it. It has a very Umenath-like ability in that it has a capability of creating 12 of skulls once it ends up securing a kill. So right here, we did end up getting unentangled. That is exactly what we want to be seeing. This does extra damage to purples. However, I believe we just press some damage here and go for our kill, go from there. Probably aim at Zoogoth and should hopefully be fine. Hopefully has enough stats that we can actually kill it. One slight bad thing about this troop is you do not get auto boost ratio. However, just to secure we do get to kill, let me go do a rope dart to make sure we 100% get it. At this point, we can also just follow up a skull just to kill that out. Now that it's right in first slot. We actually don't want to target things that have Entangle on them, as that will overall reduce the amount of damage that we end up doing to it. So I'm going to go for that before it ends up getting anything. Unfortunately, 2 damage short. That is one big issue that this troop does have. For one, it can't really upscale that well because it's normally not going to have enough damage to clean up. But the other big issue is, unlike a Zoogoth that consistently gets a 100% chance to kill like that, this thing will often not be killing, and that is a pretty big liability when stuff like that happens, especially since you don't have auto boost ratio, and the amount of time it would take to calculate out its ability is quite time consuming, given that you would have to add up 4 values, divide it by 2, and then add whatever its value is to it. So that's a lot of math that you're going to have to manually do, since he does not automatically show it, since he can be different for every single thing he targets. So that's going to be pretty annoying to have to deal with. and probably the ultimate reason why it won't really be used much compared to a Zoogoth or something where you just automatically know what it's going to do every single time. It does have a lot of potential for PvP and stuff for Zoogoth alternative, but assuming you own Zoogoth, I feel like you're almost never going to be using this new Mythic for the most part. But let's go see if we can go secure another kill, hopefully get unentangled, or if nothing else, have our entangled troop die, so we are technically unentangled. This we should hopefully have enough damage to kill that out with now. And then we get a bunch of skulls, unfortunately entangled, so it doesn't clean up, but we can just go do the ability again. Hopefully have enough damage, rinse, repeat, dead. And there we go. Why did I target the Possessed King with Cunning? We could have. I was just securing the kill that only had 2 HP. So, since it only had 2 HP left, I figured we'd kill it. Also, 1 hit wouldn't have been enough. It would have been like 90 or something damage or 100 something damage. I don't think we actually had enough damage to go kill it in that instance. Here's the Divine version. We can end up running this with Rope Dart or with Doomed Blade. And Receptor just does mana generation and something a little bit more obtainable. Let's see. Do we have a Divine Ishpala here? Hopefully the answer is yes. Looks like a no, though. So we'll probably just take a brown, let him do his thing. He'll go throw a skull down on us. Do we have anything we could do out of that? I kind of don't want to have to take that skull, but I guess we will just because it gives us full mana anyways. And then we could do this to go clean up something like Mirage Queen. Get our skull poke. It can obviously miss there, but luckily it did not. Do we have anything good? Yes, we have brown alignment, so we'll just go do that. Do our skull spam, and he's already dead. Very web spinner-esque in that regard, since it does have that 2x skull damage and the fact that it constantly keeps gaining higher attack. It functions very similarly effectively to that of a web spinner in some situations. Web spinner still has an initial higher damage output, and for that reason will probably still be used more often in this mythic. Not to mention web spinner blocks less mana than this mythic, which is obviously also beneficial. However, still not that bad overall. Having it as a alternative that you could potentially use depending on the context of the battle. Obviously, this thing is geared more towards PvP and Guild Wars, particularly PvP, because I feel like it'd be a little bit too annoying to try to consistently use in Guild Wars. But nonetheless, that is the two locations where it is geared more towards. You would definitely not want to run this in something like Factions, as Factions have much higher stats to a point where his ability would no longer one-shot properly. So pretty much exclusively it's a PvP option. An occasional Guild War, and that is about it as far as what you would actually use this for. So what am I frozen on right now? We're frozen on yellow and red there, so we don't want to go take those reds. We do actually have it though if we wanted to, but it's not worth it given the situation, so we'll just kill his version of our own troop just to make sure his own Umenath doesn't end up doing too much to us. We'll go get that. Oh yeah, duh, we're frozen on yellow. Whoops, mistakes were made. Luckily Agile's a thing on him. Do we have alignment here? Yes. Is it really worth it since we're entangled? Probably not, but as long as we get the hero kill, that's the main thing that matters there. Let's see, we'll go for it again. It just does not want to die. Let's see. I just killed it through entangle. That's kind of funny. It's possible. Okay, we'll take that, take that, take that. Let's grab that, grab that. What else can we get here? The biggest issue is that we're still entangled. So I'm just going to go take an ability just to go and get rid of it. I might as well take his mana then, and that should be enough to wipe. And there we go. Oh, that is not enough to wipe. No, but there we go. Now we can use skull value. Unfortunately, we don't have alignment though, do we? Yes, we do. Never mind. And down it goes. Hello, Captain. Welcome. Paste team codes. All the team codes are on the video. I can go copy them from there real quick. But yeah, it was just on the video that I just posted. All 3 of the team codes that we just did for these. But let me go and get them as well. Let's see. Okay, here are the 3 of them. I'll just copy paste it right over from the video. But there we go. There are the 3 teams and their team code thingy. And here's the 3rd team. So this one's more so for upscaling if you did want to use it for that purpose. I wouldn't really advise it, but it is possible to upscale pretty much in any instance. If you can tear their armor, as long as their attack plus magic is higher than their HP, then you will end up having enough damage to end up getting the kill. You technically don't need it to be that high, but if it is that high, you would definitely have enough. And of course we have Megavore for occasional instant kills. But we also have it so we could do something like this. So we can go to that, get our kill. That now brings them easily into kill range. Do that, skull spam, dead. and you just do that and easily get a cleanup. And it can actually upscale some. It doesn't upscale all the way. Like, you wouldn't want to run it on like level 500 delve or something. But for like a 200 delve, 300 delve, you could still get away with those kind of content most likely. What's up with the constant, never-ending amount of PvP battles that are copy and paste teams? It gets very old. Yeah, that is a bit of a problem of PvP. It's one of the reasons why you don't see me playing PvP that much. That's been a problem pretty much always. Guild Wars slightly fixed that problem, but it still is a bit of an issue. But yeah, a lot of people tend to use very, very similar teams just because the meta at a given point tends to only use like 10% of troops, if even that, at any given time, as far as what is the most optimal stuff to use. And a lot of people later in the game obviously own every single thing in the game, so it's a lot easier for them to use whatever is the strongest at any given time. And for that reason, it can end up being a bit annoying because everyone will just go and use whatever that strongest options are. Okay, let's go start securing kills now that we can easily go and one-shot everything. So we'll go to that. Hopefully have a good apothecary here. Do we even have a apothecary here? I did not see a proper alignment, so you know what? We're just going to go for mountain. So we'll do that, get that down, go get apothecary on the blue there. Of course, he would get a summon. That's quite unfortunate. I kind of have to throw Megavore on. I don't think we have enough damage otherwise. GL, no, we'll see. I don't think we do. No, we don't. 1 HP short. Wow. What was that? Oh, yeah, I forgot. You don't do any explosions now at 0. And he just double killed us on back. We just lost to life and death. Congrats, life and death. You're still as broken as ever. Let's see. Rip, dead. Yeah, we could theoretically win with absurd luck, but we're not going to waste time there. Nope. Oh, that's not even a real battle. Yeah, that's a big issue with PvP. It doesn't really have any kind of diversity. Generally, the meta is only a few teams at any given time. And everyone will run those few teams because everyone in late game and end game in particular owns all those teams already. Probably maxed out and everything. I should have went for, what's his name? That's not going to matter, it looks like. That might. Oh, no, it won't matter. But, oh gosh, how many resummons did he get? But I should have went for Sylvaney Moore first just to make sure it didn't accidentally entangle us. I still went down just easily. Let's see how he does against Truffle, although this isn't really a normal Truffle team that's up against right here. But it is a Truffle team nonetheless. One mana short, good job. Ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I think this is double against whatever color that was. Mistakes were made. Trying to show off an Umenath team without even using it. Or with it being dead, I should say. But oh, well, we can still get around it. Let's see, we'll take that. Megavore. I guess this is showing off Megavore more so now. We'll go for that poke. Get a nice mountain in there. Oh, never mind. I can't even do that. Because you just drained the last little bit of my mana. And we don't have alignment, do we? Yes, we do. Purple. So we'll go to that. Come on, extra turn kill. You know you want to. 8% chance. Got it. Nice. Do another one. You know you want to. Keep getting those 8%. Let's get rid of all these reds. Let's go and 1 HP, really? Well, might as well just Mountain Crusher into Mega or into Skull. That works too. And he's dead. Not exactly how I wanted to win that battle, but it works. Of course, Umenath, while it is slightly better tankability-wise than a Zugaf in first slot, at least initially, compared to Zugaf, because Zugaf over time does become tankier. But it is still relatively flimsy. The only thing it has tanking for is 20% dodge. And obviously, with enough bad luck, it is possible to trigger that 0 times. And it will just die without having any kind of mitigation whatsoever. So that is a slight issue that it can have from time to time. Because it definitely can easily die. Also, the 12 Skull, unlike a Zugaf that has freeze in case you do miss, this does not have freeze attached to it. So if you miss your Skull spam and don't get an extra turn off it, or just end up giving the enemy a bunch of stuff, you have no way to really retaliate back to that because it doesn't do a freeze on top of it, like that of Zugaf. Ah, there we go. I know PvP is so 2019. Explore is the only place you should really be farming. I'm just doing PvP right now because I'm messing around with the new Mythic that came out last Friday. And it's still available. Another 5 hours in 28 minutes it is still available for, if you want to still get off of keys. So definitely do so if you still want it, if you have some keys laying around. Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest. But yeah, great Zugaf alternative. I still consider it just slightly above average as far as Mythics though. Zugaf, as you guys may notice from me not using it, is not necessarily a troop you really use that often. Like, it's not a bad troop. It's just, it's so situational that you very rarely use it. And that's one of the reasons why it's not as viable. And this Mythic's going to have a very similar kind of situation where there's so many other options that you might use instead. Like Web Spinner teams, for example. Web Spinner is generally going to be better than this if you're looking for a Skull Rush team. This is a little bit slower than a Skull Rush team, but still a little bit quicker than like a Zugaf or something. But more often than not, you would use one or the other for the higher consistency of the Zugaf or the higher Skull Rush of the Web Spinner. Very rarely would you actually bring this out as a option. And given that it's mostly just viable for PvP, and the PvP is becoming increasingly less important to have viable teams for, it's not really going to be used for much. Like, I guess you could probably incorporate it into a Guild War, but I can't really think of a single Guild War option where you'd really bother putting it in. Maybe Brown Day, because this team that we're using right now is actually pure Brown minus Apothecary. Like, if we were to replace Apothecary, this team would be pure Brown. So maybe it could find itself somewhat into Guild War, but other than that, I really don't feel like it's going to have much of a use for anything, which is quite unfortunate. Next Mythic looks like it could be okay, though. I still would advise getting this, though, because if you ever feel like you need to use a Zugaf, and you have no intention on getting Zugaf, this is the closest troop they're probably ever going to create to Zugaf. Not the Megavore, the Umenath. It seems like we're doing a Megavore team right now just because our Umenath keeps dying. That is a thing that can happen. And dead. But yeah, that's Umenath. Not the greatest, not the worst. Worth getting, but not something you would use too often. And it's mostly a PvP and Guild War option. It'll be used for essentially nothing else other than that. I guess theoretically, the other thing you could run it for is low-level delves. So, for example, if you're doing a Tuesday delve event, just a free amount, I guess you could slot it into that. I'm not sure how viable that is for that. I haven't obviously had the chance to test it for that purpose yet. But that could work. I'm not sure what factions you would really run it on, or if it would even be overall really worth it. But it would work for that purpose. Not sure if it's quicker than like using a Ketris, though. Ketris is probably better in that instance. They share the same colors, too. Anyways, let me go run quick explore. Get these things down real quick. Go get all of our dailies and hand out a code. That reminds me, I still never marked down all the codes. She gave me more, and I never made a list of them yet, which I normally do, because it's easier to keep track of which ones I have and have not used. I believe we're up to the 3rd or 4th. Pretty sure it's the 4th, but I'll double check the 3rd. Find them out after we finish out the adventure board and dungeons real quick, which don't take long at all. And then we're probably going to head over to explore. And tomorrow we do not get any new content, by the way. However, I will be going over the new hero class that came out last week. I never really got the chance to go over it since I was gone. And yeah, we're basically going to treat this weekend as if it's coming out tomorrow, essentially. The hero class that we're using right now, which I still am trying to level, even as we speak. It's not that bad. It has +3 purple potential, a default of +2, has a natural half mana start, and yeah, that in combination. Oh, and it has arcane, so it gains 1 magic every single time anything on your team casts, including itself. So it's okay. Haven't really had the proper chance to really test it since we haven't gotten upgraded yet. Seems like it's definitely above average as far as hero classes are concerned. Not sure if it actually makes top 5 or not, though. But it has potential for sure. And it also has the highest purple gain of any troop in the entire game, and always will. It has a +3 purple potential and a default of 2. So if you ever really need a lot of purple generation onto your team, it'll be the best option in the game for doing so. And that will always be the case, because I highly doubt they're ever going to be doing anything higher than +3s. And currently, we only have 2 +3s, if I'm not mistaken, blue and purple. We do have +2 for yellow, though. But as far as +3s, I believe those are the only 2. Blue off of Corsair and purple off of... oh gosh, I already forgot this hero class's name. and 3 off of Arc Magnus. And hopefully the other 4 colors will get it eventually. +3 brown will be pretty broken. It's probably going to be the strongest one, more so than any of them. +3 yellow wouldn't be too bad, because +2 on priest is already pretty good. But I don't think they would really bother doing a yellow, given that priest already has it. Or not already has it, but technically has something very similar to it. But anyways, those are those. Let's go clear out dungeons real quick. Also, we do have Archer class event. I'm not sure if I'm really going to be poking it today, though. We can go get ourselves some 25 free gems. The only issue is we already have it maxed. They are going to be reworking class events. That's likely in 1 or 2 patches from now. Likely 2 patches from now. Because the next patch is probably going to be a pretty mini patch. But 2 patches from now should end up reworking hero classes. Not the one that's coming this month, but the one coming after that, most likely. If that one isn't, then 3 patches from now likely will. But I'm pretty sure it's 2 patches from now. It's almost guaranteed going to happen before 5.0. Because we're going to have every hero class in the game in about 3 more months. I believe we're only missing 3, if I'm not mistaken. So by sometime in April, I believe, late April, we have, actually around the, what is that, the 4-year anniversary of the channel? I believe we started the channel on April 20th, when we started doing videos constantly. But, yeah, by about that point, we'll have every hero class in the game. In many games, new troops are often better than old troops. Yeah, that's pretty much the case in Gems of War more often than not. Gives veterans a reason to upgrade and new players to have a chance to compete. Has Infinity always held true to limiting new, what is SNA tier troop? Oh, SNA, yeah, just for rankings. But the meta always shifts quite a bit in Gems of War. So something that might be useless in the past can become very, very viable out of nowhere due to some kind of synergy. For example, we're getting a 50% rogue bonus on Monday, and while that doesn't make anything particularly overly viable, that definitely can happen to stuff. Like, for example, when Mirage Queen came in with 50% elemental start and 4 times curse, the 4 times curse and or the 50% elemental start made quite a few teams viable out of nowhere. Things that you might not have necessarily have used prior became extremely good just from a single troop being added to the game. And that happens quite a bit, where things are just kind of average or slightly above average in the game, and then they become some of the best options in the game. Not because they were buffed, but because other options came into the game that made their synergy better. But more often than not, they add a mix of newer things. Like, they sometimes add newer troops that are 100% useless. For example, the glory troop that is available right now, if we go over to the shop, like, you're never going to use this in any situation, even in early game, pretty much, you're never going to bother using this thing. So they do add, like, useless things like this, but they also simultaneously add, like, decent things. Like, the Mythic that's currently out is basically a cheaper version of Zugoff, and while it's not as good as Zugoff and quite a bit more situational, the Mythic is nonetheless still above average. It's probably like a B+ or so. It could have a lot of potential into the future. It really just becomes what the state of PvP becomes into the future. If attack gain or magic gain ever becomes really popular, this thing's going to be pretty good. Somewhat similar to Sakima in that regard, in which it has a magic boost ratio thing. This thing has a boost ratio in that the higher the enemy's attack or magic, the more viable this thing will be. So if there's ever some kind of meta in the future that focuses on having teams that have very high attack and magic. Currently, there's some that have really high attack, but very rarely will you see them on defend. But if that ever starts becoming a thing, that will become more viable. And that's mostly just due to how its boost ratio works relative to the enemy's durability. Also, who's giving out 1 billion redeem codes right now? Gosh. I feel like I've gotten like 8 redeem codes. Is Keylime just like dumping every redeem code he has? Because I know Keylime was streaming a little bit earlier. But gosh, that's a lot of redeem codes. We'll have one. Actually, speaking of redeem codes, let me go hand out my redeem code right now. But we stream so often that I generally only give out 1 per stream. Very occasionally do we give a few more. Like our coming back stream, I ended up giving out 2 or 3. But I believe it was 2. But let's see. Let me go hand out this code for all you guys. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I handed out 3 total so far. 2 on the day we came back, 1 on the other day, and 1 right now. There we go. I need to go mark those later. The new forum still really throws me off. The new visuals set up for the forum. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't know, maybe just because change is weird. But I don't know, I still haven't gotten used to it yet. But there's the redeem code, everyone. Use it on gemsofwar.com underneath the game code section. Your invite code can be found underneath your settings menu. Whatever your game says right over here is what you put in. Redeem code can be found right over there in chat. Just copy paste random numbers and letters. And gives the same reward as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, and 2,500 gold. And it only works on the PC mobile version of the game. And there you guys go. And same thing as always, of course. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. Not much, but comes out to about 10 gems of value. Also, wow, we're 2 kills short of the thing. Guess we'll go and clip that real quick. Let's see. Where's Explore? Where do we even want to explore right now? I guess Zhejian. Why not? Zhejian! Let's go and get this thing leveled. So, Arc Magnus. Still want to get this thing to level 40 plus. You can switch back to the old theme. Oh, wait. There's an option for that? I didn't even see an option for it. I think I'm just going to get used to the new theme. The only thing I can't get used to, though, is why on earth do things highlight as red? That is so weird. Normally highlights are in like a bluish color or something, like by default in most locations. The fact that it's red just really throws me off more so than anything that they changed. This is such a weird highlight color. I am using controller right now, by the way. If you're wondering why it's going so quick. I am using controller. Because I know we'll be trying to level this hero class up quite a bit over the next, over this weekend. So I wanted to speed it up ever so slightly. And the easiest way to do that is controller. Doesn't save much time, but it cuts off about a second per battle. Which doesn't sound like much, but we're cycling through like 3 battles a minute, if not more. 3 to 4 battles. So it saves quite a bit of time over time. I believe over the course of an hour, it gives us about, how many more battles would it actually give us? It gives us approximately 3 to 5 more battles per hour or so. Approximately. Using controller compared to not using controller. Which isn't too big a difference. Which it might be a little bit more than that. That might be a little bit of an underestimate. But regardless, speeds things up. If nothing else, it makes it so you can't misclick some things. Which in itself is just a nice convenience. Since you don't really have to ever worry about misclicking. Well, you still can misclick stuff. But you can't misclick casts and you can't misclick menuing. It basically completely removes menuing, or at least a good majority of it. Yep, no problem for the code. Has there been a lot of lag in game today? I've noticed a few instances of it so far today, even when I was recording the video earlier. I thought it was just my connection or something. But nope, it might be the game side then. There's a cycle. Can it be a bit more predictable? What cycle are you referring to? Tell me about Soulforge rotation. Oh, sorry, there you go. If you go back to your videos and record what mythics came out when, do you think you can formulate a predictive list of what comes next? We already know how it works. The way that rotation works is it goes through cycles, and basically it'll go through one of every single thing through the cycle. However, every single time it will completely randomly decide what it will be on Monday based on what hasn't been done on the cycle. So we know what isn't in the drop table. However, we never know what will actually be the drop. We know what could theoretically be the drop, but it's complete RNG of what is still in the cycle, what will actually drop. So for example, half the troops in the game could be out of cycle. So we'll know that the other half is in cycle and could potentially be the mythics that come out. However, there is no consistent method to figure out what 4 will actually pop up because it is 100% complete luck based. So we might know it's only like these 20 troops, for example, like it's a list of 20 since everything else is out of cycle. However, of those 20, we have no clue what 4 will pop up as it's completely random. And there is no formula you could ever make that would determine it as it's just 100% random. So we can get kind of like a gist of what might happen. but at no point will we ever definitively know what it could be, which is why you never see me going over it prior. The only time we could ever potentially predict that is if it's so far through the cycle that there's only 4 options left, or a similar amount of options, like 5 or 6 or something, or even less than that, like 2. So we could say, hey, these mythics will definitely be there if there was only 2 left for the cycle, but we wouldn't know what the other 2 would be. But in no other instance would we really know definitively what would be coming up in the next week's mythics. Which does remind me, I still need to cover the normal event video for this week. Soon, TM. There's not really much to go over with it, but I still want to cover it. If nothing else, at least to mention Soulforge stuff. Which, what even is in Soulforge this week? I don't think I've even looked at it this week. Well, there's Possessed King. And that's about it. There's Possessed King. Good job. Yep, pretty much. Oh, though this is the first time Tanya's been available since he's been buffed. However, he wasn't really buffed enough to make it viable to actually go and craft him. Like he's used ever so occasionally. I think I use him for 1 Guild War day now. Oh, Elemental Bow. Elemental Bow actually is worth crafting. I use it for one of my Guild War defense. And I was just mentioning earlier how Elemental's got quite a bit of buff since Mirage Queen. This has a lot of potential into the future, especially if we ever get an Elemental Hero class, which currently does not exist. But, yeah, I do highly advise crafting Elemental Bow if you were to get anything this week. And the next best is Possessed King. Though he's pretty pricey. But he gives +1 magic if you can get 10 plus star onto Darkstone. And he's a pretty good utility troop. And he's almost 90% of his value comes from his final trait, which explodes 2 gems whenever he does an extra turn. Good majority of his value comes from that. It's one of the best mana generation traits in the entire game, given how much mana you can end up getting from it. It's also pretty much the whole board clear in the troop itself, which is pretty cool. Something that quite a few other troops don't have, let alone on traits. How often do you do a stream? Every single day. First one you've seen, you'd love to be here for more? Sure. We stream every single day at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, every single time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have no clue what time that is in your time zone, it's the beginning of this hour right now. So 1 hour prior to now, basically, is when we stream every single day. We also stream on other times. Like tomorrow, we'll probably be streaming around noon Eastern Standard Time, which is about 15 hours from now. And I will be starting at noon and not 10 tomorrow. Do want to sleep in a little bit. Still been feeling jet lagged. I feel like this entire week I will be. I still haven't properly caught up on sleep from the whole having to take a billion planes. I never want to take that many more planes in a single day ever again if I can help it. 3 planes in that short of duration is just way too many. Well, it went pretty smoothly though, at least. Like transitioning from them. That's the first time I ever needed to take connecting flights, and actually, it did go pretty smoothly overall. Oh, what do I need? Let's take a yellow and just poke him. How did you not surge? Of course, when we need it the most. Not waste like 10 seconds. If anyone else has any other questions, let me know. I'll make sure to go over all of them. Otherwise, I guess main goal right now is to go get this hero class to level 40. So we can go get the other perk, so we can actually use this thing a bit better for when we show it and mess around with it. Ideally, I'd want to have it at level 70 before we really test it. However, I'm not sure if I want to grind this weekend all the way to 70 on this thing, because it takes quite a bit of time. Let's see, 180 XP per hour. Break that into how much XP we need. We're going to end up needing around about 1,500 XP, which means we'd have to farm XP for around like 8 to 9 hours, possibly even a little bit more than that. That might have been underestimate. Could potentially be as high as 10 hours of grinding XP, which basically means this over and over and over again for 10 hours straight. Oh no, maybe we'll do that this weekend. Still have other videos I want to catch up on though that I'd prefer doing rather than that, and just show the hero class off at level 40 rather than 70. The only main difference is I'll have +1 less purple. And with +2 purple, you won't really notice too big of a difference between 2 and 3 anyways. Obviously, there is quite a bit of a difference, but for just showing it off, it's not going to be that big a deal. You sent a couple of questions on Discord. But what is your current fastest PvP team? Oh, sorry, I should probably go check the Discord. I actually forgot to the other day. I actually haven't checked Discord since I got back from vacation. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, I'll go answer those soon. But what is the most viable PvP team? That can vary depending on what you're up against. And also based on what your preference is. One of my personal favorites still for running PvP is just running standard truffle. So something along the lines of Forest Troll, Double Truffle, with hero class using Doomed Glaive as Warden hero class, or if you want to as Titan hero class, either or, is still my personal favorite for PvP at this current moment in time. I still run Key Team quite a bit. Key Team's not as viable these days. However, if you can fight things that you can easily one-shot, like 1 or 2 trophy battles, the extra gold that you get from it isn't too bad, and you can cycle through battles pretty quick. Other than that, Divinish Bala Quillen combo is still pretty quick. Yagoi Queen Titania is still pretty quick, those kind of teams. What else is still pretty meta these days? Trying to think of some more recent options that were added that's pretty good in PvP. Can't think of any currently. A lot of more recent added troops aren't really extremely meta for PvP. Even the most recent Mythic that was just added last Friday, while it is theoretically a PvP troop, I feel like there's better options out there than it. Like Web Spinner. Oh yeah, duh, Web Spinner team. Web Spinner Rush. It's probably one of the other pretty big metas these days. Ever since it was buffed at the beginning of last year, Web Spinner has been so viable. It has triple damage to almost everything in the game. Well, maybe not everything in the game, but there's a lot of stuff that it can do triple damage to. And assuming that it can do triple damage to an entire team, it can wipe through them very quick. Zugov is okay for PvP. Similar to the most recent Mythic, I do feel like it's a little slow sometimes. Biggest issue being that Zugov requires 32 mana. So that's a lot of mana to have to fill. Compared to Web Spinner, where you could just start immediately just by doing Empowered Skull Spam. And just kill them out at a decent rate. Before you even really need to get mana. But yeah, Zugov is good for PvP. I just feel like he's not the quickest due to the amount of mana he needs. And there's no way to half mana start him. You can 20% mana start him though, ever since we got medals, of course. But as far as going higher than that, that is not currently possible, unfortunately. Because it counts only as a boss typing, and there's obviously no 50% for boss, given that there's literally only one boss in the entire game that's player owns, and that is Zugov. Kind of surprised they haven't expanded upon that more, but Zugov's the only boss in the game. Can I explain quickly the medal badge system? You lost medal when you tried upgrading it on a troop recently. So, the medal badge system. Basically, the way that medals and badge works is they are pretty much only obtained from Explorer. You can get a little bit from guilds as well through the epic tasks. However, you're getting like almost all of them through just spamming Explore over and over again. Generally, if you want to farm them at the highest rate, you want to do Explore 12 and just kill them out with any good team that can take out Explore 12. These are things like Iron Gut instant kills, Zugov instant kills, various upscaling skull spam like Mang skull spam, things like Scorpius with poison, and pretty much anything that can instant kill or gain a really high amount of upscaling damage very quickly is what you want to run. Generally, you don't want to be spending any more than a minute per battle, and ideally you want to be aiming closer to 30 or 40 seconds per battle for when you're doing each one of them at Explore 12. But you basically just spam that in any kingdom that you want to, either to farm the trait stone or to follow the 20%. And depending on what team you're using. Generally, I run it with Scorpius plus Yali and just run it in Urskea because there's 0 immune to poison troops there, and that cycles through very quickly, about 30 seconds per battle, pretty consistently. And that's my method that I generally like using for it. But there's plenty of others like I just mentioned. And other than that, yeah, you just keep getting tokens every single time you take out one of these mythic bosses. You'll end up getting some tokens depending on the difficulty you do it on. Mythic's giving best token rates as well, or sorry, tier 12 or Explore 12 giving the best token rates as well as the highest rarity of them. But you do get them from other rarities as well. Like right here, we're doing it on 3, which I don't generally advise, but we're just doing it for the quickness of it. As you can see, we end up getting a Cedric from that, and even upgrades. As far as how they upgrade, every three tokens become a badge, and every 3 badges become a medal. Once you have medals, medals are generally the things that you want to slot. You want to keep at least 3 of every single medal. The only exception is Medal of Anu, in which you only need 1. And the reason for that is the 20% mana does not stack with any other bonus, including itself. So you don't ever need more than 1. However, of every other metal, you do want to keep at least 3 of them. So 3 Nishas, 3 Arachnias, 3 Cedrics, 3 Yasmins, and 3 guards of metals. You always want to keep on reserve with 1 Anu on reserve. And any of your excess that you have, you can go use to upgrade troops. As far as upgrading troops, how that works is every single one takes... they have 3 levels that they need to get. I want to find one that I actually want to go upgrade, just so it can actually go literally show the upgrade process. I don't know. What do I want to upgrade these days? Did I ever upgrade all the Guardians? Why do I feel like the answer is no? Let me double check real quick. What am I looking for? I'm looking for Guardian category. Where's Guardian category? Guardians. Did I ever max out all of these? Yes. The 6 newer ones I did. I don't know. Maybe I should go upgrade Justice. I do use Justice ever so occasionally. So let's go upgrade Justice. So go find something that you want to go upgrade, and then you can medal it. So as far as what stats they gain, every single thing gains something different depending on what they have over here. All you have to do is click over whatever this icon is over here, and it will show what stats they gain from being leveled from bronze, silver, and gold. This will give them a little icon thingy on the top left of their card that shows up in battle just to show that they've been leveled, and ends up giving those stats. And these are given per level. So this is not just gaining this total. It's gaining every single one of these per level. So that means as we get all 3 of them, we would end up gaining 14 armor and 10 HP towards this troop. Since we'll get this bonus once we get the bronze, then this bonus once we get the silver as addition, and then this bonus as addition once we hit gold. Meaning that all these add together and all these add together is what it totals to once you get it fully maxed. And as far as how you upgrade it, they take 3 levels. The first one taking 10,000, then 20,000, then 30,000 is advised always do 100%. Generally how it goes is the first level requires 1 of its rarity. The second level requires 2 of its rarity, and then the third level requires 3 of its rarity. If you do anything else other than that, it will not be enough to go and get it up. So right here, we'll just go use a Medal of Guard in order to go and get it upgraded to its first level. And now you can see if we go use a Medal of Guard again, it now requires 2 in order to get it maxed. And if we were to only use 1, we could potentially waste it since it only has a 50% chance. I highly advise only ever going for 100% chances, because not only do you lose the medal, but you also lose the souls every single time you try it. So you generally want to do it for 100% chance every single time. So right here, we can go for 2 Medals of Guard. However, given that medals of Cedric are so much more common, you can use a rarity above, or any amount above, to go and count as medals for it. So even though this would normally require 2 Medals of Guard, we can instead use 1 Yasmin or 1 Cedric if we so choose. And given that we have so few guards and have so many Cedrics because they're the most common one, we'll just go simply use a Cedric here. And now for its final level here, it would now require 3 of its rarity. So if we wanted to, we could use 3 Medals of Guard. However, come on, upgrade. Go, go, go. Loading screen. Hello, game. Response. Loading, loading, loading. Loading? Loading? Hello? There we go. Wow, that loading screen. What even? Anyways, and now for the final level, as you can see, it requires 3. And if you do anything less than that, it will not count for 100%, and you always want to make sure you do the 100%. And as I mentioned, you can simply use 1 of the above rarity to count as 3 of the below rarity. So as you can see right here, we can simply use 1 Yasmin, which is the rarity right above, in order to count as those 3, so that we don't have to waste 3 Medals of Guard. However, I'm just going to use a Cedric because we have a billion Cedrics. And there we go. And as you can see, that now goes and gets some gold. And now he is maxed, and he gains those stats again, 7 armor and 5 HP. And now in total got 14 armor and 10 additional HP from doing that whole process. And there we go, boom. And now you also get this little icon in the top left too, just around the border whenever you use it. And yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about that. I think I covered everything briefly with that. If you have any other questions, let me know. I think I covered everything. That's pretty much all you need to really know about medals. And we've covered some team videos on in the past for cheaper ones if you need. And obviously this is a method you can use. However, this is not really meant to farm medals. This is more so to farm class XP. However, you do simultaneously gain medals while doing it. Not as much if you were to do 12, but it does give some. Servers are run by Amazon. Bezos' divorce affects us all. Haha. Yeah, hopefully that explains everything, Mark Punk. Let me know. Yeah, those are some really laggy servers. Hopefully it'll be fixed by tomorrow. Like, that's almost unplayable lag with how long it's taken to get through each loading screen, or quite a few of them. Oh, there's another level. I still want to get to level 40 right now, though, if we can, though. At minimum, if nothing else. Which means we have to go do 40 more battles. Which, even with this lag, shouldn't take too long. We can do about 3 to 4 per minute. Assuming loading screens cooperate with us. It's going to be way slower than that if every loading screen's going to be this long. Okay, maybe we won't be doing that tonight. Gosh, if every loading screen's going to take like 10 seconds. Not sure if we're going to bother farming this tonight. And hopefully it'll be fixed by tomorrow. Because these loading screens are taking longer than the battle. There we go. Well, I haven't been playing much this year, so I haven't been able to tell. It could be that they're still away. Have the devs even gotten back from New Year's yet? I believe they have. Restart the game. Well, it seems to be working now. But yeah, if it starts lagging again, we could just restart the game and see if it helps. What is the defense team with Elemental Bow? Oh, it's this team right over here. Let me go show it. I'll probably make mention of it for next week, Guild War 2. And in that video, of course. But, also, why does the X button move? But, it's this team right here. Or one of these. Which one is it? It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. There it is. Defend Purple is currently what I use it for. Though I feel like you could get away with it on almost any day. As far as what day you could set this for defend. But it's just don't use it for green. But it's Forest Troll, Mirage Queen, King Gobtruffle, and Elemental Bow. Also, you probably don't want to use it for brown either. But for any other defend day, you could pretty much set it for. And the main reason you don't want to set it for those days is it creates a lot of those two colors. It also creates a lot of blue. So I guess those three colors, green, brown, and blue, are the 3 days you might not want to run it for. So that means yellow, purple, and red. You could run this for defend if you wanted to. And I personally run it for purple. But it's Frost Mage Hero class since there's no Elemental Hero class. But you get freeze off that, so it works. But it's Frost Mage Hero class with Forest Troll, Mirage Queen, King Gobtruffle, and Elemental Bow. This was basically me trying to make the strongest one King Gobtruffle defend team. Is basically what this team was trying to do. And it's pretty much just a standard Gobtruffle team, just reordered in a slightly different way to work better on defend. And with one truffle, with the second truffle being replaced with bow. But Forest Troll here is the tank, and it doubles green. And it has Entangle and 33% score reduction. Mirage Queen curses all enemies, which allows you to entangle them even if they had immune, as well as allowing you to disease them even if they had immune, because he can disease off his ability. And it also converts all the greens that you're creating, of which you're creating a lot of them, and allows you to get a lot of skull damage out of them. And this also gives 50% mana start to all elementals on your team, which is your entire team except for Hero, which naturally has a 50% mana start off of the abilities, so you don't even need to worry about that. So your entire team gets to start with 50% mana start. Other than that, King Gobtruffle is obviously its normal usefulness. It just does a lot of damage to all enemies, ends up creating a lot of color that you need, green and brown. And it also has boost ratio based on poison and disease. You won't be able to poison, however you can disease. And given that you can curse, you can get disease a little bit easier, since things that have immune to disease can still be diseased, assuming you have curse on them, if the AI ends up doing that. And you end up getting those off extra turns. And Elemental Bow is, of course, in Soulforge right now. Normally, Elemental Bow is the aspect of this team that most people don't own, but it is in Soulforge right now. And it deals damage to an enemy boosted by elemental allies. and then creates a mix of blue and green gems. It's a pretty standard weapon, except this one does it for elementals, which is pretty beneficial with this team. Unfortunately, no elemental hero class. However, this hero class of Frost Mage has a lot of things that are beneficial to this team, such as giving elementals 1 extra magic every extra turn, a bunch of additional mana accumulation, some submerge, already having a half mana start, so the fact that it isn't elemental doesn't really matter as much. 20% spell reduction, more magic in last slot. Actually, literally every single one of these is useful on it. A freeze at start a battle, and it also has the highest amount of freeze of any hero class, having a 25% to freeze a random enemy whenever you cast a spell, which you get to loop quite a bit with this team. It's not infinite, but it does loop some, even under AI control. And you also gain additional magic every single time someone casts, which also increases the damage of this. And given that it's all the way in last slot, that will end up accumulating a lot of damage over time. Even if it's in a sticky situation, it's probably going to gain like 20 or so damage over the course of the battle for extra damage they can end up utilizing. Not to mention, you also will be giving extra magic to all your elementals, meaning that your truffle, by the time your first slot, 2 slots die, if the enemy ends up killing that 4, would end up probably of gaining like 10 additional damage by then. So ends up working out pretty nicely. It is one of the ones that has been getting a bit of a higher win rate. And yeah, elemental bow is available right now. So if you haven't been able to make it, you can go use that for next week's Guild War Defend. And that'll be a bit more powerful than what you might have already been using. And it's usable on pretty much any Guild War day. So you can just pretty much slot it into whatever one you're not currently using. Just make sure not to repeat any troops, of course, if you're already using Truffle or something else for a different team. Why is Mirage in front of Truffle? Because it's under AI control, so I'm using the Mirage Queen to tank for the Truffle. Also, the Truffle over time can gain more magic off of Frost Mage. Theoretically, you could even use Truffle all the way in last slot. Only reason I didn't is because in case they run something that can hit last slot, like a Megavore or something. Though in purple they can't run Megavore, but you know, there's options that can hit last slot. So theoretically, third slot is your safest overall spot, and that's why I put the Truffle there, because Truffle is the most important thing on that team. The whole team is centered around Truffle. It's pretty much just a Truffle team. It just is a little bit built a little bit different to work for AI defend. Because you have to build teams. You have to try building teams whenever you do Guild War Defend so that AI will actually use it properly. And that's one of the main reasons why Mirage Queen's in front of it. Because AI will obviously use it way different than how a player uses it. Hero level, nice. We'll go into yellow, I guess. Keep it nice and even. Except we always go into purple. Arcane traits are guaranteed at Explore 12. Yes, on Explore 12, you do have a guarantee. Or actually, it's not even Explore 12. If I'm not mistaken, it's any Mythic battle has a guarantee Arcane, if I'm not mistaken. I am like 99% certain of that. It doesn't even matter what difficulty you do it on, if I'm not mistaken. Just simply doing a Mythic battle will give you a 100% chance of giving you an Arcane. Obviously, you'll cycle through them less often if you're doing the lower ones. However, if I'm not mistaken, even on the lower ones, it is a 100% chance to get a Mythic Trait Stone on the Mythic boss battle. Or on the Mythic battle for these. Not on the Legendary one, but on the Mythic one. There is. Which means, yes, theoretically you get more Arcanes off the higher ones, because you're cycling through the Mythics more often. But it is still possible on the lower ones as well to get 100% Arcane. But yeah, generally, if you're looking to get a lot of Arcanes, Honor is the best way to do it. At one point in the game, that was pretty much the only real viable method of doing it. However, obviously, there are more methods now, like Explore being the main other one. But, yeah, either or. Explore is a little bit more time-consuming. However, you don't have to waste a bunch of glory on it. But if you do the glory method, it's not that much glory. And it's super quick, since you can mass buy them now. So you can buy up, like, infinite Arcanes within seconds, assuming you own the glory. Of course, the biggest issue is owning that much glory. The Arcanes are definitely way easier to accumulate than they used to be in the past, that's for sure. Not to mention even things like epic tasks now give them as well. Well, I guess it's technically the same as legendary tasks giving them still. But there's still way more methods than there used to be, if nothing else. But yeah, this lag is pretty bad. Wow. Come on, I just want to gain a level. Let us have the level. But hopefully they fix that soon. There's no way they're not back in the office by next Monday. So if it's because they haven't been in the office as much or some people are still off, they'll probably have it fixed next week, I'm pretty sure. And 100% by next patch, which should be very soon. Actually, next patch could theoretically even be next week. We don't even know. It might be a little bit later than that. But there's almost a guaranteed chance we're getting a patch this month. If not this month, very, very early next month. I'm pretty sure it's this month, late this month, or mid this month. It's going to be a small patch, but a patch nonetheless. You're unfamiliar with using Glory for Arcanes. Can you explain that? You don't understand? The way that you use Glory for Arcanes is you go under Shop, you go under Glory Rewards, and you click on whatever the Glory troop is for the week. And this Glory troop always has a Arcane on it. If it is an Ultra Rare or if it is Ultra Rare or below, so if it's a Common Rare or Ultra Rare troop, it'll cost 300 Glory and you will get 1 Arcane. If it is an Epic, it is the best time to ever try stocking up on Arcanes. It'll cost 400 Glory per pack, which is more. However, it will end up giving you 2 Arcanes. So that means whenever an Epic is available in a weekly event, you can end up buying Arcane Trait Stones for essentially 200 Glory each, compared to the normal 300 Glory each. Meaning you can end up stocking up quite a bit on those Arcanes, since they'll be the cheapest they'll ever be. You can still do so even when it's not them. However, it'll just cost more, 300 each rather than 200 each. But yeah, all you'd have to do is just buy a bunch of these, and you'd also end up getting the troop max likely in the process. So if you needed a bunch of brown yellow to upgrade things like Cockatrice, Gorgotha, Bullet, any of the other good brown yellows out there, Dragonian Monk. If you need a bunch of them, you can just simply just buy them up, and assuming you have the Glory for it, you could just basically get infinite of these things. And I could literally buy 200 right now for 60,000 if I wanted to. Obviously, I won't be doing that, but it is something that you can do. And with these new sliders that they added, or I shouldn't really say new, this has been out for like half a year now, but semi-new. But with these sliders that they ended up adding, it's really easy to buy a really high amount of them as well. And if you don't already have this troop maxed out, it does it by rarity too as you go up. So you can buy it to Legendary or to Mythic. And of course you get Arcanes as you go and go through it as well. But yeah, it is advised to do these. And you can end up getting a good majority of your Arcanes through this method. Obviously you do need the Glory amount. However, if you farm Vault Event Weekend every single week or every single month that it falls on, you can pretty much get enough Glory from that alone to last you for the entire month. So you can pretty much just use that strategy, even from an early game perspective, to have enough Glory to do that every single week, to basically Mythic up the whatever troop is there, and then you would also get a bunch of Arcanes through the process. Generally, you don't really buy them beyond Mythic. Even I, with 1.1 million souls, don't even buy them above Mythic, but that's also because I don't necessarily need the Arcanes. But it is advised pretty much only getting them to Mythic and not really going much further, unless you like desperately need more of the Arcane for whatever reason. Oh, is 4.75 preview next week? Oh, nice. Yeah, we didn't get a beta tested, so I'm not even sure what's in it, to be honest. Because they never did anything with it. It's going to be pretty small, but if they're doing a whole stream to preview it, it must be something semi-big. Because, yeah, to dedicate a whole stream to it, that's quite a bit of content then. Well, we'll have to see. It's supposed to be a mini patch. We'll see what's in it. Trying to think of what they might add this patch that isn't a class rework, because they're probably saving the class rework for 4.8. Hasn't been confirmed, but there's almost 100% chance that 4.8 patch will be the class rework patch. Because they kind of have to soon. Every hero class in the game will be out within 3 months, so they're going to have to do a patch between now and then that will address it. And 4.8 is the most likely patch that will address it. Yeah, the glory things, the glory trips that you get every single week come with quite a bit of value. Like, those packs are really, really good value. You get some gold keys from it, you get some glory keys from it, you get some gold, you get some souls, you get some, you get a brand new troop. That's pretty easy to max since you can just throw some glory at it and get it immediately maxed. And you get arcane trait stones from it. And the arcane trait stone, oh, you also get minor trait stones too, if I'm not mistaken, 4 minors. And those minor trait stones in the arcane are used to upgrade the new troop itself, and you can use it for other things as well, of course. Yeah, we are getting a new faction next Friday. Not tomorrow, but next week's Friday. We're getting a new faction. That is correct. What kingdom was it associated to? I believe it was Urskea, if I'm not mistaken. I'll need to go double check that later. But I'm pretty sure it was Urskea, last I recall, is what the new faction will be for. And no worries, none of those 4 troops, unless they change it last minute, will have immune to poison. All 4 of them do not have immune to poison. Unless they're last minute changing it. Wait, is it Mergrim Woods? My bad. I could have sworn it was going to be, Did they skip over the thing? Could have sworn that was going to be the next one. Let me double check the thingy thing. Let's see, return to main menu. Kingdom spoilers. Let's see. It says Urskea. And I think I'm right. Unless the link I have is wrong. But it says it's connected to Urskea. And then the one after it's connected to Shentang. Yeah, the one coming out next Friday should be Urskea. Salty says it's Mergrim Woods, but the thing says Urskea. Weird. Okay. Well, that's why I thought it was Urskea then. That is very strange. Though Salty has been wrong before. Though she would probably know better than the data that's pulled from that site. Because that data from that site isn't necessarily always 100% accurate. Just because it goes based on the files in the game. Oh no, that means Urskea could still get immune to poison then. Taha. Yeah, it makes sense given that it literally has woods in the name as well. Should almost have that level. And then we go get a whole nother perk for this thing. Making it even stronger. I don't believe it gains anything good off a final perk. So 70 is probably the furthest we ever really need to get this thing. I don't think I'm going to farm all the way to 70 this weekend on it though. But I do want to get it within the next few weeks to 70 for sure. Because it does seem like a useful utility hero class. Even though I don't plan on using this hero class too much. +3 purple is definitely not something to pass up on for some teams. Has a lot of potential. Not to mention it's +3 purple with a natural half mana start. Which is a pretty good combination. But it only has +3 purple once it reaches 70. Prior to that, it's only +2 purple. Which is obviously still high though. But it's not the same as 3. Especially if you're using like 3 or 4 purple troops on your team. For if you're only using 2 purple troops, you probably wouldn't notice too much using 2 compared to 3. But for 3 or 4 purples, it would definitely be noticeable. The difference between having a 2 or 3 purple bonus. It's also pretty noticeable with really high mana cost troops. Like if we want to use it with Zugoth, which requires 32 mana, a 3 mana increase for it would be quite a bit more noticeable than a 2. Not sure if I even would synergize it with Zugoff. But it is one thing it could be used for, of course. Ah, these loading screens. Just give me my level already. We should be pretty close. I think we're like 10 battles or less. Yet so far, if loading screens are going to keep being like that, though. I really wish they had a better way of seeing how much EXP you have, though. I wonder if the 4.8 patch will actually address that. Because 4.8 we're likely going to beta test for. Whereas this one they didn't get any feedback from us for. Because it's such a small patch. Hey, Soul Gnome. We could use more souls. We have quite a surplus of it, but it goes down pretty quick as we start meddling stuff. 5,000 souls. That's exactly what we want to see. That's his best drop other than Vault Key. But over the soul drops he has 1,000, 2,500, and 5,000. And that's the best one he has as far as physical souls. Hello, Adrian. Welcome. If anyone else has any other questions, do let me know. Because we will be wrapping up probably as soon as we hit that level 40. And gain its perk. And tomorrow we don't get any new content. However, I will be going over the new hero class more, most likely. And we'll be grinding it up a bit more so we can actually get it to a usable state. At 40 it will become quite a bit more usable. But at 70 it'll pretty much be fully usable. If we ever get it to that point. I still need to cover the video for that, and I still need to cover the event video thing too. Mostly just to go over Soulforge and stuff and mention some teams with it, like the Elemental Bow team defend thing that we just mentioned earlier to stream and stuff like that. Oh, there's our level. Nice, 40. And now we can go give it its perk. And now it's to get to 70 later. Not sure if I'll get that done this weekend, but I at least want to get some of the part of the grind done this weekend. That's not what I want. I want classes. Arc Magnus and where was the thing I needed? Oh yeah, it doesn't actually gain that good of a benefit from this one, does it? Most of its good benefits are on the other ones. Its best benefits are on 10, 70, and where's the half mana start? And 20. 10, 20, and 70 are where its best benefits are. On 10, it gets 20% spell reduction or disease. Either or, depending on what you want to run with. On 20, it gets 50% mana start. And at 70, it gets either +1 purple for +3 total purple, or an explosion on a yellow every single time you take an extra turn. And its final perk is not really that useful. The elemental one could be good, but I don't feel like you would use this thing with elementals unless a lot of really good purple elementals ever came into the game. And mystics, it's just too low of a bonus. So yeah, you don't ever need to get it beyond 70, but it is enticing to get it to 70 for either the +1 purple or the explosion. +4 magic to artifacts. There's not too many good artifacts. Most teams would use it and wouldn't actually use an artifact. Most teams you'd use this in do not use giants. And Doomstorm is not necessarily a good thing. But I guess if we're running quick battles, Doomstorm isn't horrifically bad, I guess. I'm not sure. I guess we'll put it on because why not? Just for fun, let's see what it looks like with a Doomstorm here. If we go do a Leprechaun. A Leprechaun Doomstorm. Yeah, not even enough to get a poke. Not a single scope poke out of that. How unfortunate. I think Doomstorm might actually be making it worse because we don't really need the skull damage. We more so need the mana. And the Doomstorm's pretty much getting in the way of us getting that mana, which is kind of funny. There are some contexts of teams where that Doomstorm would be useful. However, for just grinding like this, I don't feel like it would be. But then again, Storm does not affect starting board. So I guess that actually doesn't matter much if we were to have the Storm. But yeah, for this particular team, it's not going to do much. But I guess with every single thing, using a Mirage Queen wouldn't be too bad then with some elementals. Because you would have Doomstorm start with a Mirage Queen combo. And while theoretically we don't need that for this kind of quick win Explorer, that combo in general wouldn't be horrible with the class. Once it gets to level 100 eventually. Hello Shock, welcome. Do you recommend for the week event if you have bad RNG and don't have Alderfather? Sorry, for what? Do you have a recommendation for the weekly event if you have bad RNG and don't have Alderfather? Oh, you mean for raids? Do you mean? I say, let's see, what even is raids right now? It's Forest of Thorns. So your best bet is probably Rowan with Urskea Shield build, because that's all 100% stuff that you can gain automatically. You get Rowan from completing out Forest of Thorns questline, and you get Urskea Shield from completing out the Urskea questline, then get 250 wins on the Sentinel hero class, and then you have Urskea Shield. Both of those are at 100% rate, and you could easily get them within a single day. That would take in total about 3-4 or so hours or so of grinding if you don't have any of it yet. But yeah, if you do that, you can get Rowan into Urskea Shield. Use Urskea Shield on Rowan and keep buffing it over and over again. And that's pretty much the method you would use to get through raids if you don't have any other option to get through raids. Just use Urskea Shield on Rowan and then cast Rowan and keep rinsing and repeating. And then one other troop you could just use as the raid troop to clean up the Zugov some. And then just one of those mana generator. And maybe like a Lady or Nero or whatever you happen to have. Maybe even Dryad if you have like no other option whatsoever. But just some kind of mana accumulation method. Dryad, I believe, is the cheapest since it's a rare and has +1 green. And it creates greens and has extra barrier in case you need. And a heal. Let's see. The only class you've maxed out is Dragon Guard. What would you say is the best overall class? Titan. You've heard Titan. Is that true? Yes. Titan is the best hero class in the entire game. It's not even close. It's not the most viable thing in every single situation. However, if you're basing overall value, Titan is the overall best hero class. If you were to set any hero class for literally every team and never change it for any reason, Titan would be the strongest one to do that for. And it is advised to going Titan max as the first thing you ever max. Even on my Nintendo Switch account, it's quite literally the only hero class I ever bothered leveling, because you don't ever need to use a different hero class as long as you just use Titan for everything. It's not the absolute most optimal for some teams compared to some other options in some cases. Like obviously in a 4x Divine team, Priest is better, or like the new purple thing that we just got in some kind of purple heavy team, a +3 purple would be better. But generally speaking, Titan is the best hero class in any team. And just overall, it has a lot of versatility on it. It has barrier every brown, it has explosion, it has enrage, it has a bunch of immunities, it has a lot of things going towards it. And it also has half mana start to all giants, including itself, since it does count as a giant itself. But yeah, really great hero class, best in the game. And you get that from Stormheim if you don't already have it. Complete that Stormheim questline, you get Titan, then just use it a bunch, and yeah, really nice hero class. You probably use it in like 80% of teams for the most part. And you can get away with using it for 100% of teams and not be hindered much, just because of how versatile it is. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading off for now. As I mentioned earlier, we will be streaming tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. I'll be streaming mostly probably leveling up this hero class some, messing around with the hero class, seeing what it can actually be viably used for, since I haven't really had the chance to test it since I wasn't here last Friday. So we're basically going to be treating this Friday as if it's coming out. Obviously, we won't have a class event for it, but still we'll be able to grind it through Explorer, which is generally the better method for grinding it out anyways, compared to doing the class event, which seems kind of weird, but that is the case. The same as why I even completely skip over Archer and stuff. Like, it's just not worth doing it. But yeah, we'll just go grind it out manually and mess around with the new hero class that came out last Friday. Other than that, yeah, we'll be back same time as always tomorrow night as well. Hour and a half prior to now tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we'll also be streaming at noon. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. And don't forget, if you still want to go get the new Mythic that came out last Friday, you still have 4 hours and 27 minutes until this Mythic is no longer exclusive in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chests. So if you still want to go pick that up real quick, if you have some keys laying around or attempt for it, it is still around. Not the best Mythic around, but it's the closest thing you're ever going to get to Zugoff if you have no intention on ever crafting Zugoff. So for that reason alone, it is worth considering getting. But there are alternatives. Web Spinner is fine in most situations compared to this. If you own Ketris, I feel like overall Ketris is the better value. They use the same colors, and I just feel like Ketris has more viability than this thing does. I don't know, just overall, I feel like this troop's not going to be used much. It's a nice utility to have your hand on, but definitely not high priority. It's probably around the 10th to 15th craft, probably closer to 15th as far as Mythic priority order of what you would want to get. But nonetheless, it is the closest thing you'll get to Zugoff if you're not going to get a Power Orb, so for that reason alone, it's worth considering. But anyways, guys, if you don't end up getting it, of course, 4,000 diamonds and Soul Forge and sometime in the future. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Have a wonderful night. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.